Hello and welcome to the NCBO for Statistics. I'm your instructor, Scott Doherty, and in this video I'm just going to give you a brief overview of my math lab. Now this class actually consists of two different courses. The first one is the NCBO. You'll go through the material for it first and receive a grade for it, and then when you're done with that you'll proceed on to the material for the Statistics class, and you'll receive a separate grade for it also. Now, the first button I want to go over is this course home button. When you click on it, it's going to pull up a calendar for the class. And you can see on this calendar, it has some squares, and those are the due dates for the quizzes for Math 0242, which is the NCBO. Now, for the NCBO class, you're going to have some homework as well, and you'll have due dates for the homework, and then you'll also have due dates for the quizzes. And those are going to be shown on this calendar. Now, the first quiz you're going to have to take is the orientation quiz, which you can see down here. If you scroll down, you can see more detail about that. For this particular class, my fall 2026 class, the due date happens to be September 4th. But if you're watching this video in a future class, it may be a little different, so make sure you check your calendar to see when it's due. That's your first assignment. You need to take the orientation quiz before its due date or you'll be dropped from the class. It's not graded, but if you don't take it before the due date, you are going to be dropped from the class, so make sure you do that first. Okay, then when you're done with all the material for Math 0242, like I said, the NCBO, which is the homework and the quizzes, then you'll proceed on and start working on the material for the statistics class. And you can see that it also has some homework, which is denoted by the circles. And then it's also going to have, instead of quizzes, it'll have tests, which are denoted by the diamonds. And if you scroll down, you can see more detail about those due dates and those assignments. If I post any announcements, you'll see them here. And when I post an announcement, it's also sent to the email that you put into my math lab, so you can also check your email if you want. By the way, all the material for both classes are contained in this one My Math Lab shell. And you can also check the announcements by clicking on this tab here. Of course, this is the orientation video that you're watching now. And then this is an orientation document. And you can read through a lot of this. It's got a lot of detail about what I'm going over right now. It does show you the due date for the orientation quiz, so make sure you check that. And then it has information about all the tabs in my math lab. But let me just scroll down and mention this is my cell phone number if you need to text me, and my email address if you want to email me. And then for the statistics class, you are going to be using a TI-84 calculator, so make sure you get one before the statistics part of the class begins. And by the way, once you start using the calculator, at the end of each section in the textbook, there's what's called a tech center, and you can look at that to help you with the calculator. Now, when you take a quiz or a test in this class, you are going to have to use the Lockdown browser and a Respondus monitor. You're going to have to download both of those, and you can click on these links to get more information about how you do that. There's also a link for technical support for Respondus monitor here if you need help, or you can contact me. And then when you go to take those quizzes or tests, they are password locked, and these are the passwords for those. And you can just see it's basically the name of the quiz or the test that you're taking. By the way, the syllabus is no longer contained in my math lab. If you want to read through the syllabus, that is going to be contained in your D2L account under the Simple Syllabus tab. There's a navigation bar at the top, and it should have something that says Simple Syllabus. So that's the place to access the syllabus. You can't access it in my math lab. By the way, that is also where you will access my math lab for the first time if you haven't done that already. On that navigation bar at the top, there's also a tab that says Course Materials. If you click on that, that's how you get access to my math lab if you remain in the STAR bundle. If you opt out of the STAR bundle, then you have to get access to my math lab a different way. And if you're going to do that, you need to contact me and I'll let you know how to do that. Okay, so when you go to do the material for the 0242 class, the first thing you should do is watch the videos that I have posted here. And you can see that the first homework, there are 3 different topics here, and there's 3 different videos that you need to watch. And if you want to read a textbook or a textbook that goes over this material, I've got it posted here. There's 3 different textbooks I have posted. P stands for pre-algebra, E stands for elementary algebra, and then there's the statistics class, or the statistics textbook, which has what's called an integrated review in it, but it also has just the statistics material in it. I denoted the integrated review as R, and I denoted the statistics textbook as S. And so when you see something like this right here, it says R in it, and it has a 1 in front. So it's in the R book, which is the integrated review for the stats textbook. It's the first chapter and the 3rd section. And this is a video over that material. If you want to learn about exponents, though, it's in the E book, which is the elementary algebra textbook, and it's chapter 6, section 7, or you could check out the integrated review, which is in chapter 1, section 6. And so you can see that's how this works. The P stands for the pre-algebra book, which is chapter 5, and then section 1 here, or the integrated review, chapter 2, section 1. So I've got textbooks that you can read through, and I've got videos that you can watch. But make sure you watch the videos and read through the textbook before you start working on the homework. And I'll show you the homework here in a moment. And so that's what this the Math 024 video shows you, okay? Once you finish watching the videos, then you're going to go to the assignments button. And let me just pull that up real quick. And you can click on whatever assignment, right? If you want to do, this is 0242 material, you'll work this homework assignment. There's 16 different questions, and in each individual assignment, you have these learning tabs at the bottom that you can use. You have Help Me Solve This, which basically takes the problem that you're working on and helps you solve it step by step. And then you have View an Example, which pulls up a different problem, very similar but different, and actually works through all the steps. And then you can go back and actually work the problem that you have. The Get More Help, you can see here you have this Ask My Instructor button, which will send me the problem that you're working on in an email, and then it'll give you a chance to type something in the email and ask me questions about the problem. The nice thing about this is it sends me the problem in the email, and it makes it much easier for me to answer questions if I know what problem you're working on. Okay, you can also, when you start using the calculator, you can also get some tech help here. Okay, and so that's how this is going to work. You're going to watch the videos first and then work the homework assignments. And then when you're done with the homework assignments, you can proceed and take the quiz, right? This will be the quiz and it's password protected. So once you're done with this homework 1, you're going to want to take quiz 1, which is over the material from homework 1. And there are 9 homework assignments and 9 quizzes for the NCBO part of the class. Once you're done with all of those, then you're done with the NCBO class. And then you can look at your student grade book to check out what your grade is. Click on this calculation button and you can see that it's broken down by homework and quizzes. They're both 50 points each. And then you'll see your overall grade posted here. And then once you're done with that material, I'm going to actually post your grade for the NCBO class, and then I'm going to change the grade book and set it up for the stats class. And once you get to there, you'll see tests, homework, and then the final exam posted here, and you can look at that for your grade book for the stats class. Now, when you get to the material for the stats class, you're going to look at these videos instead, right? These are the WebEx lectures. So you're going to watch these videos first, and this is basically my YouTube channel, a link to that. So and it's broken down by chapter and section. And I'll show you the assignments for those if you're curious. So for example, this is now the beginning of the statistics material. I have a video under here from each of these sections. Okay, so you're going to watch the video for each of these first before you do the homework. I also have some homework videos that you might want to look at that goes over some of the homework problems from statistics if you're curious about those. By the way, this is a calendar for the statistics and NCBO part of the class. Now, these are not the due dates for the homework and the quizzes or the tests. These are just suggestions about when you should be covering that material. It's just a way of seeing if you're keeping yourself on track. The actual due dates are posted on the MyMathLab calendar, which is the same as what you would see under the course home button. Okay, just a couple of more things. This is when you get to the stats class, this button shows you all the formulas and tables that you're allowed to use during an exam. This is the pre-algebra textbook that I mentioned for the NCBO class, and this is the elementary algebra textbook for that class. And this is the actual stats textbook, and it's broken down by chapter. You can see that as an integrated review part as well, right? This is the integrated review that was mentioned earlier. The other thing here you want to add is have the video resource library. If you pull this up, you can search for things like section video lectures, and these are MyMathLab lectures, not mine. But you can search by chapter and section for those if you want, or you can look at maybe the PowerPoints, which kind of give you an overview of the material. And then there's these tech videos, right, which you might want to look at when you start working with the calculator. But you can play with this and see what you find useful. And then the only other thing here is you have accessible resources. This is another way to access the PowerPoint slides, but it also gives you the transcripts for the videos for MyMathLab videos. And then I have some class notes here. You might want to look at that button. But the rest of this is sort of optional material. StatCrunch is an alternative technology. I'm not using it for this class, but if you're curious about that, it can be used instead of the TI-84 calculator. Okay, so this is just a brief overview of the class. I hope that this is helpful for you. If not, if you have any questions about anything that I didn't explain, feel free to email me or text me. I think I've pretty much covered the overview of everything, but if you need any help, just let me know. I hope you have a great semester, and I look forward to talking to you during the semester. Bye-bye.